Live on WFLA now. Feel good and live your best life with Bloom Health Club. Here's Gail Guayardo.
Millions of people around the world are healing their trauma using a method called fascial maneuvers. It's incredible, but I've experienced it firsthand. Meet the man behind the mission, the Human Garage, Garry Lineham. Garry, thank you for being our newest member of the Bloom Health Club.
It's been a pleasure being here, and it's actually completing a one-year journey because I came on recorded a year ago. So it was really great to be back and connect.
Yeah, I heard all these incredible things about Garry. I was on vacation at the time, and my good friend Martha Van Camp was sitting in for me and interviewed him. And, you know, I have always personally subscribed to what you preach to millions of people or teach to millions of people around the world. And that is our body holds on to trauma in a way that we can't even begin to understand.
It does. Now, it's really about trauma releases when we sync up. And, you know, part of it, we had a chance earlier to sync up a little bit, but to sink into this conversation, what we like to do before we have a meeting, a discussion, before we film, when we're in the heat of an argument, we sync our energies, and we do that in 6 breaths. You want to do it with me?
Yes.
Okay. So cross your right ankle over top your left.
Okay.
Your right arm underneath your left armpit.
Okay.
Left arm on top.
Okay.
Turn your body to the right and head to the left. And we're going to bring 6 breaths together, 3 through the mouth and 3 through the nose. So breathe in through the mouth. 2, 3, through the nose. 2, 3.
We're synced.
Remember I told you it's like a bubble.
Yeah.
It's like the whole studio disappeared and it's just us.
Which is how you work with people and resonate with people. And I wonder if your own journey of self-healing is what makes you so intuitive and so in touch with other folks.
I think it's really important because a lot of times when I was going for care through practitioners, and hundreds of them, they didn't have an empathy for me. So they could understand what I was going through their knowledge, but they didn't have a feeling that connected with it. And when I didn't feel like somebody was connecting to me, I didn't know how to release, whether it was, you know, a chiropractic care or whether it's a massage or somebody who was doing talk therapy with me. All of those things, I felt they needed a connection. And so my own story has helped me connect with people. I've had a lot of abuse. I've had 8 concussions. I've had near-death experiences. I've been through relationships of which I was the architect of most of the problems in those relationships. And, you know, I've spent the last 5 years after I got out of my clinical practice to start trying to rebuild my life. And I started by going back and repairing all the relationships. And it's been quite the journey. And I think that's why people relate.
We had Garry on Bloom, which was our globally syndicated show. And unfortunately, because of the way, you know, shows are, you only have a limited amount of time to really spend with people and to hear their stories, which is why we love the Bloom Health Club, because we can take a much deeper dive. But I do want to share, you know, after we were done recording all of our segments, you know, Garry worked with me a little bit one-on-one, and I have never shared this with anyone, so now I'm going to share it with everyone, that, you know, I said earlier, I believe that we hold trauma in our body and feelings and that they stagnate there. But you were able to immediately pick up on that I had some real unresolved issues dealing and mourning my late dad. It caught me very off guard. It was, you know, emotional. And just how do you sense that in people's bodies?
I sense it in my body. And in my body, I know where all the parts go. And every part of the body has a relationship. Like for you, there was tightness in your upper right chest and your throat, not speaking about it. So also not asking for help. And it was around male authority figure. And the chances of that being your father is like really, 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 really high because I don't know you really, and I don't know your
Right.
father. So I'm speaking for what I believe your consciousness is speaking to you. It's like just helping you process something that you weren't yet ready to process, or you were ready to process it.
Yeah, clearly I was ready because I burst out into tears. I wasn't expecting it. Um, I think what is so beautiful about your mission is that you've put everything online for people to learn about this for free. And
Right.
not many people share proprietary information. There's always a bottom line, but for you, it's really important that people have access to this type of healing.
If it's going to help at a global stage, it has to be free. I mean, we were down in Cartagena, Colombia, as part of our tour, and we were just seeding the South American market, and it's like I think it's 44,000 to 1 in the dollar. So like we're dealing with trillions of dollars. I mean, they couldn't even afford a single pill of a supplement. So we went down there, did the event, we took supplements, and we gave it away for free. And the way that we do that is we knew that if this was to take hold at the speed at which we believe the world needs it, that it had to be something that people could access anywhere, anytime, in any language free of charge. And we have basics in about 20 languages now, but we're converting into 80 languages here roughly by the end of the year. And to keeping it free, there was a moment in my own journey where the inspiration for this came. And the inspiration came from, I say, talking to my higher power, whatever you want to call that. And I'm okay with whatever people call it. And my statement was, if you help me out of this, because I was in pain, that I'll spend the rest of my life doing this, to make sure that no one in the world has to go through what I'm going through.
And when you go on travel the world as part of this world tour, thousands of people show up to meet you and to be in your space, to be in your energy field, and to learn, which really speaks volumes about how many of us are living in pain and feel that we do, in fact, have something trapped inside of us.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you look at it right now today, every disease in the history of mankind is at its peak. We have autism, like right off the chart now. One in 10 kids are being diagnosed. We have breast cancer, 1 in 4. We have autoimmune anxiety, depression, even with our kids today in colleges and universities. And that's why we have like millions of kids in universities that learn this and share it with each other. So there's something happening in the world, and there who knows why. I mean, there's a lot of different beliefs, and I don't pretend to know it all, but there's all these things happening in the world, and the net result is, as a society, we're not really that good anymore. And the way to be good is to have some of the experience you just had, which is to let go of it. Like, what is your experience since 30 minutes ago?
Well, I mean, I feel lighter. I feel less pain. And again, I didn't go, this was a quick, because we were running from studio to upstairs to the streaming center. I didn't get as much time as I would want with Garry, but it's almost like a euphoric feeling of of a release, like a weight being lifted off of you.
Yeah. And I mean, so think about trauma as being heavy. And when it's heavy, you feel heavy. It actually creates heaviness in your movement. And then when your movement is heavy, you have to use more stress hormones to move you. So then when you use more stress hormones to move you, you don't digest properly, you don't rest properly, you can't think, you can't find solutions. So it's a combination of things. And what we found is that when we address the fascia, we release it in the way that we do through the maneuvers. And whether they're individual, you do it yourself, or partnered, what you experienced was both. You did it yourself and you experienced a partnered maneuver, which I was actually helping you in. And when a partner maneuver, when someone helps you, what would take you 3 to 6 months, you can do in 30 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's
it's
incredible.
High incentive to help people or to be helped.
And you also put a program online that's a 28-day road to healing as well, that anyone could do at any age. You show people standing, you show, folks, if you need to sit down, if you're elderly, whatever you need to do, you can start the release of the pain and the trauma and whatever is trapped in your body.
Yeah. So what we found is that, we have about 4.5 million people online, but we have about 30 million people practicing with growing at about 1.5 million a month right now. And what we found is that people engage with us, they have something that's going on. Like, I have a vagus nerve issue. I have an elbow pain. I have a headache. And they come onto some sort of media, or they get engaged by a practitioner or a doctor who's recommending our stuff. And then they try something, and it's simple, it's low risk, it's non-invasive, and it takes minutes. And if it works for them, then they want to go a step further. So they'll try 2 or 3 more things. But when somebody's really ready to make a change in their life, whether it's a physical, emotional, perceptual, or spiritual change, they have to take the body out of stress in order to do that. And the 28-day reset, we start sharing the philosophies that make this work over a course of 28 days. Now think about this: when you go for like a rehab, like your alcohol addiction, you're away for 28 days. There's a reason for that, actually.
Why?
Well, it's a moon cycle.
Ah.
So that's a human habituation cycle. So 3 days is a perception cycle. That's why if you have a psychotic incident, they'll put you away to make sure that you're okay and everyone around you for 3 days, 72 hours. And then if you have a body incident, it's 28 days. So we're using that formula, that math, basically, to give you a way out of your own issues, pain, because pain itself is addictive, and you get caught in it. So that 28-day reset is, you can start, and it's all online. It's free of charge. And whether you're a student, a mother, a grandparent, a professional athlete, or a doctor, we have literally millions of doctors now that are going through that program and then recommending it to their patients.
Believable. It's interesting to me too how this ties directly with our mental health, because we think, and I applaud all mental health counselors and people that work with others. I mean, they're so needed. But the brain can't heal everything. And you said, actually, and I never even thought about this, the brain itself doesn't even feel pain.
No.
So you said you could have surgery on somebody and not really need
anesthesia for the brain. Yeah.
That's crazy to me. So you're seeing this healing happening at a fascia, which you came up with the word fascial maneuvering.
Yes.
And it can even stop something that I do quite often is I'll get something in my mind and it'll just be like on a step and repeat. Like I cannot resolve certain issues, maybe it's in a relationship. It stays in my mind on a constant loop. And I thought your explanation about that was really fascinating as well. It's
fascinating.
Fascinating. I'm going to get it. Once and for all, I'm going to get it. It's fascinating. But you said like my brain won't stop looping because it can't resolve the problem.
So the job of the brain simply is to find patterns and identify them. An emotion is a pattern. Okay, so your brain is identifying the experience of the body. Like if you feel something you don't know, your brain has to explain it. And sometimes the brain can be tricked. That's how sleight of hand and the sensory processing, that's how magicians work and stuff like this. Because the brain isn't really that intelligent. It's using past known content or information to help resolve a current situation. And if it doesn't understand it, it just keeps trying to understand it. Now think about this. Think about a computer. If you open up a window on your computer, and then you open up another one and another one, another one. You keep opening programs and windows, and you never close them down. And after a while, you go to move your mouse across the screen, and it goes like this. Mm-hmm. Well, that looks like certain disorders that you have in this world. And that's because the brain is trying to resolve what's left in all those windows. So it goes and does the things that you need to do, which is take care of my breathing, my walking, my eating, my work. And then it gets a spare moment. It says, okay, I got a spare moment. Now I need to resolve that window that was open. So the best way to describe it is what we're doing with fascial maneuvers is we're taking the stress out, which gives you more capacity to resolve those issues. Because when you're in stress, your brain has a limitation to the ability to resolve an issue. That the job of stress is to get you out of the problem. So the brain constantly focuses on narrowing the solution down to one, because if it didn't get it with 10 solutions, then it has to find 9, 8, 7, 6, and then the final one. And your brain is trying to get that final solution out of the way. And if it can't do that, then the option is that's where we go crazy. That's where we're suicide. That's where all the other, self-harm issues start to happen. Well, the opposite of that is the brain has all the options and all the issues. So here's something. We, earlier, we just did a little bit of work.
Yeah. We really are in sync.
I'm coughing for you.
Thank you.
That's your Libra clearing your lungs. So close your eyes. Think about your biggest worry, biggest issue that you had coming in here this morning.
Could be personal.
Anything.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody can do this.
Okay.
Now, does it feel as bad for you?
No.
So what's changed?
Was it the maneuvering?
Well, you have more, but what's changed with the issue? You have more space. You see more options. So as your body comes out of stress, you see more options. Makes
that makes
sense.
sense.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
Do you want to do some with the audience?
Yeah, let's do it. And let's bring in Brody Waddell, our lead BloomTampaBay.com producer and digital reporter.
Hey, Brody.
Hey.
We're going to rope you into all of this.
Let's do it.
Grandmaster Taurus.
Okay.
That's right.
Grandmaster Libra. There's no accidents here.
2 of them, yep.
So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little sync that everybody in the audience could do. This is the quickest way to get your body out of mental and emotional stress.
Okay.
There's a lot of them you can do. Take your right hand, put it on your chest, left hand on your head. Okay, now you're going to breathe through your mouth 3 times and through your nose 3 times, and imagine a circular ball of energy. If you wanted to add a color to it, it could be green and white. So we're going to breathe in together. 2, 3. Through your nose. 2, 3. Now, look at each other in the eyes. Hey, Brody. Now, Gail, does it feel like you can let your hands go? Now, in your peripheral awareness, does it feel like Brody's in the conversation now?
It actually does.
Yeah.
I actually see, like I was saying, I'm like, when you and I were talking, I'm like, I haven't brought Brody in yet. Because I got so focused, from exercise 1 to he's back, peripheral.
Now, Brody's in the conversation and everybody else disappeared.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is called brain-heart coherence. There's machines you can buy to do this, but I find that the machine of the body is pretty good.
Yeah. So how did you come up with, because I know you co-founded the Human Garage. What's the story behind the name? What's the story behind your own personal journey?
Okay, so I mean, a lot. Can we talk about stuff on here?
Like, of course.
Really?
Yeah. We can really talk.
So I was sexually abused as a child. I was a really active kid. I had about 8 concussions that were diagnosed and probably some undiagnosed ones. I was a business person. I was successful. I had 2 companies to 50 million. 11 other companies, sat on the boards of hundreds of companies. And but I kept having more and more pain in my body. And so I started managing the pain with the traditional ways, chiropractors, with Chinese medicine, with ART specialists. And it appeared as like back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain. And I wasn't even the mental pain. It was just normal. So like the emotional stuff, the thoughts in my head and stuff like that, I didn't even know that there was an issue there because I was so focused on the physical. So I'd spent 20 years, $2.5 million of my own money going from practitioner to practitioner. And I would hire practitioners to teach me because I figured if I could find out what they knew, maybe I could find out why they couldn't help me because I'm good at solving problems. That's literally what I did. I would solve problems, especially around systems like computers. And in 2010, I hit a wall where I could no longer even use a computer. And I had to turn the business of my healing into a business. So I actually used my entrepreneurial power to start a clinic with a guy named Dr. Rubenstein, brilliant man. And he had this brain-body calibration. And what he did is took me on this journey, and it started getting me out of stress. My body started healing. And I remember, like you experienced that moment where like a fog lifts. I remember that happened after working with him for, maybe a couple months. And I thought, well, how long had that fog been there? I didn't even know. That transitioned, that stopped working for me. And I wanted to bring on other modalities. And this is where we parted our ways. He was going to go off on his journey doing his thing, and I wanted to explore. So the clinic started. We were working in my garage, and I had a guy that I'd hired that worked for me named Joseph Gonzalez, who and at the time my wife, and we were working in a garage, and we were testing all these ideas in Venice, California. Well, one of the guys that was in the complex walked by every day, had a back surgery. He would stop and ask us questions, and we said one day, what would happen if you treated me? And I said, we have this new protocol. So we took him as a client. He happened to relieve his 10 years of back pain and surgery in that 4 sessions. Well, he cut hair for celebrities. So next thing you know, in Venice, California, in a garage, celebrities like Brandon Roth, who was Superman, Katie Lotz, who was White Willow on DC Comic Heroes, they started coming to my little place, and then the apartment, an 800 square foot apartment in Venice. And then we just took out all the furniture, and literally 4 of us worked in there 6 days a week. And we worked, 10, 12 hours a day helping people. And eventually we had to turn it into a business. So we actually got a little center, and then it just grew from there. So that was the story of the clinic and how we got the name Human Garage. But at the end of that journey, after spending $17.5 million with 52 of the best practitioners on the planet in every modality, when I felt like something needed to change, and I knew that if I left the care of my practitioners, I was not okay again. And I no longer wanted to feel helpless, because I felt helpless. I felt in pain, angry that I couldn't get it. Here I am helping people heal at a scale level, 10,000 patients, 5,000 appointments a month. And I'm at a scale level, I'm helping people get rid of their pain, but I had it myself. And when the pandemic came, I had met Jason and Cynthia, and I was too tired to move forward, but the two of them, with their energy coming in and wanting to create a center at that time to train people in this new fascia work that we had, we started doing these maneuvers because we couldn't see anybody. No one could come to see us. We started doing these every day, and lo and behold, within 3 months, my 30-year issue had gone away. And at that point, we knew that we had something, and we also knew that it had to be free. So I was angry. I was angry at the system. I was angry at people. I was angry at myself. I was angry at the world because I'd had been all that money and all that time, and it was these crazy little movements that took 30, 40 minutes a day that healed me at the end of it. So I was now in control of my own health, my own feeling of pain or not.
Talk to me a little about this. You brought this device, and for those of you who are listening and not watching, and you can't see what I'm holding up, it is a glass, like baton, like sphere almost. And you say that this holds on to energy. It does.
Actually, it's actually a portal. It's actually, let's give it over to Taurus. Right. So it's a Taurus. So it's him. He is a Taurus.
Yeah.
It's just it's a more condensed version of him. He makes things happen.
Interesting.
So that is it's divine light crystals. There's a shaman that I've had a lot of weird experiences. My clients have been everywhere from Ben Affleck's of the world to Olympic runners like Tyson Gay, mainstream celebrities. Like I was just with Zach Levy and with Sex with Emily. I was just with them.
Oh, I love her podcast and show.
Awesome. Yeah, I was
She's
just
awesome.
with them in LA working with them. Yeah, so I have this super elite celebrity clientele, and that wand has been with me through every treatment that I've ever done. But some of the crazy experiences is I had this woman named Giselle who was a shaman from Argentina, who walked into a clinic that we had in LA, laid down on the table, and she said the weirdest thing to me. I was working with her, and I was working on her hand, and then all of a sudden I had this strange, really strange familiarity with her hand. Like I knew every crack on it. I looked at my hand, and I'm like, I don't even know the cracks on my hand, but I knew hers. And she looked up at me. She says, yes, I've known you for a very long time. And I'm like, whoa, what do you mean? Well, so she introduced me to energetic medicine, energetic healing, which is which is why I was working with you and your father.
Yeah.
And she charges these crystals with intention, and each one has a different intention. So here's another one. I can already feel that one on you. And you can, Brody, you can turn it over.
Yeah.
And feel the flow of energy changing. So these are things that amplify human experience, but the real healing and real power is a human being. And tools amplify us. They make that power exaggerate in some certain ways. So what do you feel with that one, out of curiosity?
This one I just feel like another like protective calm from it. Like it was an immediate like
yeah,
release.
Yeah.
What is this one supposed to do?
Well, it's called the Eye of God.
Okay.
It's to focus your intentions to your own truth, purity, I would say.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
Fascinating.
It is fascinating.
Fascinating.
So fascinating.
I mean, these are just tools. Like every practice has tools, and so I found that crystals have been a very good tool for me, and it's been quite the journey working with them.
That is so cool. Brody, do you have any questions? I know you do a lot of research. He writes some of our most brilliant articles that you can see on bloomtampabay.com. How do you feel about all this? I said right from the get-go that and even before Garry worked with me and made me feel this release, I was like, I know I'm storing things. I know I'm storing a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, and a lot of trauma that's never been healed.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can definitely feel it. It's funny you talk about this. Like my mother and my grandmother are like really obsessed with this type of, energy sort of thing, and like the star signs like you talk about. Do you think, is there like, do we all share some, like a similar energy or way of storing this sort of trauma that you can see in people to people? Like you were able to call that out in Gail. Is that like a shared thing we all have?
Yeah, I believe that in a greater picture, the more people I touch, which is like literally hundreds of thousands. Like we go to an event, and Jason, Aisha, Cynthia, and myself, the founders of Human Garage, we will touch sometimes 600 to 1,000 people. And the more I touch, it's like anything else. If you do it repetitively over and over again, you start to see patterns. And, what I found is that they were all connected. If I ran your guys' astrology charts, I'm pretty sure, well, I already know. I know you're Grandmaster Libra, and I know you're a Grandmaster Taurus, and I have Grandmaster Libra and a lot of Taurus. So I know that there's a reason why we're here together.
Right.
And I truly believe that. I mean, I can go further. I have seen enough things in my life to say that there is more than just a belief here. There's a calmness and knowing that we were supposed to meet and supposed to be here today.
I would agree with that 100%. And I think too, and talking about the show and this podcast, like I think because we're really a small group that put on a big production. We don't have a lot of manpower. We don't have a big budget, but what we do have is this genuine, love of wanting to just push out information that people don't know about or that they need to hear about. And I feel like once you make that your intention and nothing else matters, you really are genuinely using your vehicle to help others, then it seems like people start to come. And these forces of energy, or like us being together and like what you're talking about right now, do have meaning behind it.
I resonate with that. I mean, the entire fascial maneuvers process was brought out by 4 of us initially into millions of people. And you know, to put it in perspective, we produce about 1,500 hours of live content a year, every year. I mean, and you guys know from the production side,
Right.
and we have terabytes of stored data, which we're going to give access to the world. We've recorded every moment since 2020, every moment, even including arguments, because we want people to know the truth behind it. And I believe that when you have a focus, it's not about the size of the team. It's really about the character of the team. And I can see why you guys are doing so well in doing this, because you have a love to do it. And I think that I feel, and I think that when people have a love of doing something, and you connect with other people, that you perform. And this is actually where I want people to understand. If your goal is to heal, my experience is you'll never heal. If your goal is to perform, healing is one of the steps along the way. And what you're doing as a team is performing. And through that performing, I would gather to say that in this journey, you guys have had a lot of personal healing.
Oh, yes. Without a doubt. It's been transformative.
Yeah.
I mean, the woman who was asked to come join the team, that would be myself, 4 years ago, I was major thyroid issues. I was dealing with the death of first my father, then my mother, exactly a year to the date. July 8th, one died. July 8th, the second died.
July 8th.
Then my dog.
I know why I'm here now.
Yeah. So I was broken.
That's a powerful date for me.
Really?
Yeah.
How so?
Well, my brother, who we both had pain, he went the traditional route, surgery, medication, committed suicide. He was July 8th.
Sorry.
And but that's what led me to do this. And, you know, people may believe in the other side or mystics or whatever, but I had a lady lay on my table once, and she goes, "Your brother wants you to know this." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, whatever." And I hear that all the time in LA. Yeah. It's kind of like par for the course.
Right.
She said something that no one else knew. And I'm like, okay. And then he says, he wants you to know that the fascia is like a circuit board. And she would come to me every month and bring me more information. And just before I came out here, on Lionsgate Portal, which is August 8th, two people with that birthday came just randomly. One, Dr. Scott Lyons, and then another gentleman, and they came to see me. Both were last minute, random, shouldn't have been there. So that date is super powerful to me. So that connects us.
Right. And I had two instances where two people that didn't know me, that dealt in the afterlife, said, "Your dad wants you to know this," and your dad and it was interesting, the similarities. But then when you said, downstairs in the studio, you need to release, this grief, this horrible grief process, I just literally, I fell. But I, just to go full circle, it is being around people like you. Like, I will go log on. I'm going to do the 28 days. I'm going to immerse myself in it, because I genuinely feel like, people like you, I have the privilege of sitting across from, because there's something I need to learn along the way. And I don't want to just perform it. I want to learn it and then pass it along to the next person so that they can grow and learn as part of the process. If you met me 4 years ago, I feel like you would think I look younger and more alive today than I did in my early 50s. And
yeah, I mean, you shocked me today with your age. So listen, one of the ways that I work with people is I believe that every single person that comes into my space, that's why I ask everybody for their astrology, because I know astrology so well that I can map why they're there. And I work with somebody and I ask enough questions until I know the reason. And I know the reason today. I know the reason why
Tell us.
You're here with me. I mean, we're connected by a super powerful date. That date, that one date is a single date that transformed the entire process from clinical to this worldwide movement. And not only on top of that, if you really follow astrology, this geographic spot, Tampa. I was here 24 years ago to collect $400,000 from someone who stole from me to this date. And I'm here back, and I was just reminiscing on that as I was driving around. And then to take it a step further, when you look at called cryptology, it's where you are on that line, and that it said basically you're going to transform your life or loss or business situation in being here. And so we're on this whirlwind tour, and I pulled out of here. I pulled out of the tour just for a moment to come down here, and I quite honestly don't know exactly why, because it's to pull out and then come down. It takes a lot of energy, but now I know why. So I believe that you're here to help me.
Wow. Well, that's humbling, and I feel like it's definitely
and we have a tourist to make it happen.
Yes,
that's right.
The tourist.
Too.
I never knew all these years we've worked together. I did not know you were a tourist.
That's right.
My dad was also a tourist.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Man,
when was your dad's birthday?
His birthday is April 28th.
Oh, that's interesting. He's a 6-degree Taurus, so he's a Libra Taurus.
Really?
Yeah. So he manifested things to bring balance back into the life.
Amazing.
So in his passing, he was bringing balance back into your life because you were probably going the wrong direction.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, that's the way I see it.
That's incredible. This whole conversation has been incredible. I cannot tell you what a privilege and an honor it's been to have you on Bloom and to have you join us on the Bloom Health Club. I really have. This is one of the most experiential, encounters I've had. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And how do we find you? How do people follow along and learn all of this incredible knowledge that you share?
I think it's really simple. You can go to any social media platform, type in Human Garage, you'll get to us. But if you go to our website, you can find, because there are literally tens of thousands of videos. So if you go to our website, you can find like a 15-minute stress reset. You can find a lower and upper resets. You can find a 28-day reset. And then that leads into what we call Lifestyle Artist Level 1, Level 2. That's where people want to become coaches or practitioners. Again, all free of charge.
I love this.
Yeah.
And they can go there. That's the best way. One of the ways that you can help is you can learn this and share it with somebody. Another way, if you're in a city that we're coming to, bring somebody out. You bring out the events are a cost recovery. The tour pays for itself. None of the founders here, none of us take salaries. We don't have a 401k. We don't have any money we're putting away. We put 100% of the money back into creating more content, more videos, and expanding the mission. And that's why we're also growing so fast, because we have thousands of volunteers around the world that our only ask is that if you've had transformation to this process, you help other people. And that's what we have. We have thousands of people that are contributing every day. And we have hundreds of thousands of people that are sharing it in a very, very visceral way, millions of practitioners.
Well, the one thing that you can do is to share this podcast as well, so that more and more people can learn about Garry Lineham and the Human Garage and the incredible healing that awaits you. Thanks again.
Appreciate you both.
Yeah. Thanks, Garry. Until next time, everybody.